Alright, so I'm going to open up and disassemble this DELL XPS 13 9370. So first thing you want to do is remove all the screws from the bottom. So it looks like they're all T5 screws. Alright, so let's get a T5 screwdriver. You want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shapes, and lengths. Okay, I don't know if there's any hidden screws on this model, hopefully not. Usually on these DELL models they'll have a little metal door, but this one doesn't have that. So it looks like there aren't going to be any hidden screws, but we'll find out when we go ahead and try and pull the cover off. Alright, these screws at the bottom are pretty tight in there, so be careful taking them out. You want to go slow, don't try and twist real quick, and then you can risk damaging the screws. Okay. Alright, so once you get all 8 screws out, let's see if we can pop the cover off. Okay, usually we can flip this over. Okay, I'm going to open it slightly just so I have it so it can stay up to make it easier to show. But usually what you'll do is you'll get in this gap here. You'll probably need a pry tool because it looks like this is actually really difficult to get in between. I'm going to try using a suction cup and see if I can do it that way. And probably not. Nope. Okay, so looks like suction cup won't work for removing this cover. Nope. Okay, so we are going to use a pry tool. I'm going to use a metal pry tool just because the gap here is super thin. Hopefully my phone's not going to keep beeping. Let me make sure I turn this off. Okay, hopefully it's not going to beep. Alright, so I'm going to get the metal pry tool in the middle or in the gap here. And then I'm going to use that to try and pry this up. Let's see here. So I don't want to use too much force. I kind of just like slid the tool over until it kind of fell in a gap here. But you can see here it's like stuck again. So this cover seems like it's going to be really difficult to remove. Let's see here. Alright, I know people are probably going to be complaining, don't use metal pry tools, but yeah. And you'll see these little holes here. Oops, people keep messaging me. Jeez. Okay, hopefully that'll stop the notifications. But here you can see there's these little holes. Those are like microphones, so you want to be careful not to actually insert the tool in too far and hit those microphones, okay? So we're just going to go in. And it looks like it's popping apart here. Here you can see. Okay, here you can see the microphones and you can see the microphone cables there. So you want to be careful. Alright, I'm going to close this up. We're going to go from the side now. Same thing, get the tool in and then kind of pry it. There we go. And you want to also be careful of these little speaker or these air vents, okay? So I'm going to go over to the other side. Same thing. Alright, and we're going to go to the side but not to where the speaker vent is. Hopefully we can pop this up. This side is holding a lot stronger. So we're going to have to get the tool over past this air vent and we're going to try and pry this side as well. There we go. Again, you don't want to put the tool too far or you can damage things. So once you get all the way around the front and the sides, we should be able to kind of wiggle this to get the back cover off. Let's see here, unless there's some hidden screws there. Hopefully not. See here, this part is stuck in there pretty strong. Maybe I should check under this rubber piece and see. I don't know, it doesn't feel like there's something hidden there, so let's try and unclip this first. Okay, so the clips go up the back of here. So you can see sliding the tool in and it feels like it's stuck here. So I don't know, there might be some hidden screws there. Let's undo the clip on this side. Okay, so that's already out and there we go. Okay, so it looks like there's no clips. You kind of have to just pull it forward as you kind of lift it. So I was pulling the cover this way as I was lifting it, and there we go. Here you can see the bottom of the cover. They got all these thermal pads here. it's really dusty inside, so I'm gonna have to clean this up and I will be back. Yeah, alright, I'll clean that and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back, cleaned it up. So I cleaned inside. You want to be careful not to get these pads too dirty or anything. Oops, let me disable the notifications again. I need to like turn that off before it's gonna keep like going over and over. Okay. Alright, so we got the battery here is, let's see, is there a model number on this thing? Here. DXGH8, okay, DXGH8, so that's the Dell laptop model number, or the battery number. And looks like to remove these screws, it's a PH or JIS1. So I'm going to disconnect the battery first, okay? It's always a good idea to disconnect the battery. Alright, so there's one screw here. Again, keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shapes, and lengths. And it looks like this middle screw is actually a PH or JIS0 screw. So make sure that you get that screwdriver, different screwdriver to remove that. Alright, so we'll remove these two corner screws. And then we'll remove these two bottom screws down here. Okay. The speakers are held in with screws, and I'm not going to take them out. The main thing I'm going to be doing is checking for the battery and the fans on this one, but we're going to do the battery first, and then I'll go over like the SSD. The RAM looks to be soldered on this board. Oops, I have to also remove, don't forget that last screw, the PH or JIS0 screw. Okay. Alright. So once we get that, we're going to lift the battery up. Alright, just lift it up however you can. And then you want to get the wings of this connector. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. Alright, so the wings of the connector here, just grab it, and then you kind of just wiggle this with your fingers as you kind of pull on it, and here you can see it's slowly coming out, and there we go. That's how you remove the battery. Clean off the dust. After you disconnect the battery, it's always a good idea to open up the computer and then press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds, okay? So this will drain any power to prevent damaging the motherboard or the logic board. Okay, and yeah, so this is very important if you're messing with the screen or LCD connectors, LCD or LVDS connector. So let me show you here. So that connector is here underneath this, these two brackets. I'm pretty sure this kind of connector, you will just pull it up like that. Again, I'm not going to take everything out because the customer just wants me to check the fans and the battery. But here you can see the trackpad connector, got the keyboard backlight connector, keyboard connector, you got this connector that connects all of that to the motherboard, as well as the microphones here. So all these connectors go through to just this one cable to the motherboard. You got the SSD here. I'll take that out. So there's one PH1 or JIS1 screw here. Once you remove this screw, you can grab this, and then you can actually slide this back so it actually goes into this little notch there. And here you can see the SSD. This is a M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD, so if you want to upgrade it, there's this thermal pad. Be careful, we have to put this back. But to remove the SSD, after you remove that bracket, okay, you want to get underneath the SSD, and then you can lift it up. It's stuck down. Maybe there's another thermal pad underneath. But you want to lift this up slightly, and then just wiggle it as you pull it back, just like this. And yes, there is a thermal pad underneath. So you want to be careful with that. Alright, let's put this back in. Alright, it's a little dusty under this, so I'm just going to clean that off. Okay, so they do put a lot of thermal protections for the SSD. Okay, so alright, once we got the SSD back in, we're going to put this metal bracket back on. Just slide this over. Okay, you want it to go back in that little notch there, and then you can drop this back down, and we'll put this screw back in place. Alright, just like that. So that's the SSD. The speaker cable goes all the way over here, and then it looks like they both connect to this one spot here. This kind of connector, you just grab and wiggle it, Again, it's kind of risky to remove those. These little connectors are kind of thin, so I don't want to mess with that. I am going to have to take this out to check this fan. So let's take this connector out, or this metal bracket. So this metal bracket is holding down part of the screen connector here. So if this is touch screen, then this is probably the touch screen connector. Otherwise, it's like the webcam and everything. Alright, so we're gonna move this bracket up, and there's this fan connector here. Looks like the fan connector goes underneath. Let me see if I can peel this off. It doesn't look like I can peel this oh, okay, I can. So I'm peeling this adhesive up to see if there's a screw underneath here, and I'm gonna actually disconnect this cable because it looks like it's on top of the other thing. So this kind of cable, let me zoom in. So this is like the LCD or LVDS connector on the other side, but smaller. So there's this little black tab here that usually you can lift it up. Let's see if I can get it lifted up. Come on. Wow, this tab is like stuck down. So it's like folded over, so you gotta get underneath this plastic tab and peel it up. Maybe it won't come up, I don't know. Okay, so it's folded over this way, you can see. Alright, and I just pulled it up and that connector actually came out pretty easily. So BLCCD, I don't know what that is. Backlight? I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna peel up this adhesive here. And oh, there's actually no screws there. Okay, so let's see. This one metal bracket was holding that screw, but let's remove the rest of these screws and see if the fan assembly will come out. Okay, so once we remove those three, will this come out? Okay, let's disconnect the fan connector. Just use your fingernails and just wiggle this. Okay, just keep wiggling it away and it should pop out easily. We'll wiggle out this one as well. Alright, and there we got the fan cables out. Let's peel up this adhesive, okay? And then let's see if we can lift this fan out. And it looks like we can. It is held in with a little adhesive here, so you kind of have to pull it. But there we go. You can see there's a bunch more dust, so let's get that out. And that's after I already used a powerful electric air blower to clean it out. So I'm gonna just brush up this stuff here, brush that off. Alright, and I'll use this hand powered one here that I got. Alright, and there's still dust stuck there. Okay, so I don't hear any noise issues with this fan, so it might be all the dust that was messing it up. So I'm just gonna brush all this dust out. Okay. And then we'll just clean all this dust out. If you want to see how to repair this fan, I don't know if it's going to be repairable or not, or if I'd have to just replace it. Let's see, there's some model numbers here. ND55C19. Excuse me. Here on this part, let's see. They're ND55C19, but these are both attached together, so I don't think you can replace them separately. Yeah, so this kind of thing, to remove these, if you've seen my other videos, you would cut these little plastic mounts, and then I think there's some hidden underneath here as well. And there's also this little metal clip here that you have to kind of move to separate these two layers, the metal, these two. And once you do that, you can take this off, and if you're lucky, this kind of propeller you can pull off and put grease in the bearings if your fan is actually bad. So if the fan isn't bad and it's just dusty, then we can basically just put it back now. So now that we got all of this out, I don't know why this is, did that bend, or that's weird. Okay, so this is supposed to be like a foam adhesive-y thing, so I'm moving that out of the way. Put the fan back in place. Let's reconnect the two fans. Alright. Squeeze the two together just like that so you don't push the connector off the board. And we'll stick that adhesive back down. Alright, now we're going to put back the screws for the fan. Uh-oh, getting more messages. Jeez, stop it. Okay, hopefully that stopped it. Stepped on something, hold on. Where'd this come from? Okay, so we're going to put back the rest of these screws. Put this screw here. Alright, after you got those two fan screws back in, we're going to put this connector back on. Just line it up. Alright, make sure you get it lined up. And if you remove this, hopefully you press and held the power button before doing this, or you can risk damaging your screen or your whole computer. Alright, then we're going to fold this back over. The wireless card is soldered to this board, so you can't really replace the wireless card, but the antennas can be disconnected from here. If you've seen my other videos, I show how to do that as well. You just pull it straight up from the tail. Alright, so now we're going to put this screw in as well. Alright, so those connectors should all be good. Put this adhesive back down. And now we'll just put the battery back in. But that's pretty much all there is inside here. Hopefully this video helped you guys. You're welcome to stay till the end. We're basically just going to put everything back together. So the battery, let me zoom out so you can see better. Okay. So just line up the connector, of course. And then again, using the wings and the connector, pinch it together. Try and get the thing to go in straight. You don't want it to go in crooked, or you can possibly damage the computer. Alright, get the battery in. And we'll just put all these screws back. I always like to twist them backwards to hear the threads like line up properly, and then before twisting it, so the screws should go in pretty easily. If you have a tough time kind of tightening the screws, you might be putting the screws in crooked and you can actually damage something, so be very careful with that. Alright. Okay, so we got all those screws in. We'll put the last small one with the PH or JIS 0 screwdriver. There we go. And then we'll switch back to the T5. Uh-oh, getting more messages. Alright, we'll put this back on. Line it up. Clip everything back in place. Okay. Whoops, I forgot. Because this one had those clips that you have to slide over, you actually want to start with the cover slightly down, and then you want to slide it into place, okay? Alright, so you want to check that, make sure there's no gap there, slide it into place. Oh, my phone. People keep messaging me. Stop it. Okay. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Once you slide that in, just put back in all the T5 screws, and you should be good to go. So hopefully this video helped you guys. Again, if it did, please like, subscribe, help others find my videos. Thank you for watching. You're welcome to stay till the next one, or till I'm done with all these screws, but I'll see you in the next one. Alright. And sorry for all my text messages. I forgot to turn off the auto thing, and I can't turn that off while I'm recording, so I have to keep telling the messages to stop making the repeating sound. My phone is currently set to, if I don't respond to it right away, it's gonna keep beeping forever every 30 seconds. Alright, so that's all there is. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.